All right. Chika, what do you make of that? I mean, you've talked about the reduction in the interest rates for intervention funds.
Yeah, I said that, in the kind of, what they call it, fractional reserve economics or CBN policy they're on. There's an inverse relationship between the interest rate and the inflation.
Inflation, right.
Now, other things being equal, if we have investing recession the way we are, what you do normally is, and with inflation, is what? Too much money. Right. So what you do is you reduce the quantity of currency in the system.
Right.
What do you do that is by increasing what? Interest rates.
Right.
So that people will borrow less. Now that's basically the way it works, if everything is equal. Now, but we are coming out from we're in recession, so you need to drive growth.
Right.
And the way to drive growth is what? Letting people have money to produce things. So how do you do again? Reducing interest rates. So you can see that it's counter to inflation management.
Right.
Now, but you see, that's the balance. Other things being equal. But the issue with Nigeria is what? There is a genius factors that affect the whole process. Power remains an equation.
Right.
The port system remains an equation. Supply chain is a problem. Security is a problem. So all those factors exacerbate the inflation that we have in Nigeria. So managing inflation is if other things are equal, it's okay, because you're trying to, you say, ordinarily simple definition of inflation is too much money pursuing too few
goods. Yes.
So what do? You try to encourage output production,
right?
So that to move up to match the amount of money in the system.
Right.
You can also put border closure.
Yes.
That's another exogenous factor.
Right.
So I'm saying that there are limitations. That's the problem with monetary policy.
Right.
There are limitations to the what monetary policy can do.
Excellent point.
After time,
right.
You exhaust all the tools of monetary policy.
Yes.
And what else can you do? Because interest rate now, for example, is almost nil.
Right. Right.
Now, but look at this way. Whereas CBN has brought interest rates to nil, or almost nil, what is the lending rate in Nigeria?
Right. It's still
hanging up there.
Right.
Because of what? The issues in the system. Every branch of a bank has almost 2 or 3 generators. They have mobile police and so many other things, insurance, and those things, increase the cost of lending in Nigeria. The typical SMEs in Nigeria, despite the billions CBN is pouring into the system, the banks are not willing to take the risk on these SMEs, and they're looking for shared risk with Central Bank. Central Bank is actually trying. The last product they brought out, they said they're going to share the risk 50-50.
Yes.
So the typical SMEs, I work with a lot of them that still having problems accessing credit from the system. So I'm just saying that what is talked about now is the way it's supposed to work.
Right.
The Monetary Policy Committee meeting met and they left the rate, and so it's okay. But we need to look at the exogenous factors.
Fantastic.
Remember Papa Port?
Yes, yeah, you've talked about it extensively.
The VP flew around Lagos here with helicopter,
yes,
and said, still,
right,
clearing goods from the port is a torture.
It's an issue. And Chika, I'm glad you mentioned this. In the U.S., Jerome Powell, the equivalent of Governor Mefele here, has called on the fiscal authorities to please assist, because as you just said, monetary policy can only do so much. It's been said that there's too much pressure on the central bank trying to prop up the economy, and he also needs assistance.
Governor is Minister for Finance, right, Minister for Agriculture, Minister for Security, Minister everything on his basket.
So he also needs the help as well from the
everybody knows
side.
that the economics, the ABC of economics, you need the fiscal side and the monetary side to work together. Because what is the real tool of CBN? Managing money supply.
Right. Price stability.
Price stability.
Right.
But our central bank here has moved out from his core mandate and moved on to development finance.
Right.
And he's just doing that because of the other side is very quiet and silent.
Okay, one more. We can talk about this for the entire segment. One more soundbite here from the central bank governor Mefele on recession. He was asked about the recession, when he expects us to exit. Let's take a listen.
Recession or contraction in growth, in output, is what we have seen throughout the entire world as a result not only of drop in commodity prices, but because of the adverse consequences of the health crisis created by COVID-19. In some developed countries, during the first, second, and even the third quarter, We saw some of them even showing double-digit contraction in growth. But in Nigeria, what we've seen, during the second quarter, we saw a minus 6.1% contraction, and I will use pleasantly in third quarter, a reduction in output to 3.6% negative during the third quarter. Let me say that we are hopeful, and the Minister of Finance had addressed some gathering yesterday where she said that she's hopeful that during the first quarter of 2021, Nigeria will exit recession. Based on data available to the MPC from the CBN, we are somewhat cautiously optimistic that indeed, if we continue doing what we're doing and do more, that there's a likelihood that we will see some little positive output numbers in the fourth quarter of 2020. But I can say with some level of certainty as well that we are so certain that during the first quarter of 2021, we will exit the recession.
Okay. All right.
Now,
Chika, what do you make of
what
that?
are the elements of recession? Massive declining output,
Yes.
high level of unemployment,
Yes.
and then dwindling personal income levels,
Right.
household income,
Right.
So now, how do you manage that? It's simple economics. The way it normally should work is you reflect the economy, even if it's by printing money,
Right.
because there's an input and output ratio.
And they're doing that in
Yes.
US, UK,
Yes,
all
yes.
this
So
right.
you put money into the system.
Right.
So even if it's road contract, for example, even if it's a road that is good already, you can dig it up. Give a road contract to Julius Berger. What happens? Julius Berger will call back all staff that are retrenched.
Right.
They need to buy steel. Steel mills that are locked down will start opening again. They need to buy cement. Cement mills that are down will open again. Call back employees. They will earn salaries, pay tax. So the input goes in, the output in the system will go back and then reflect the economy. The wheel of the economy will start again.
Right.
That's the way it works. Okay, we are printing money. We are pushing money into the system. Now, but as I said, the leakages, remember I said input and output.
Yes.
Input means if you put 1 billion, you expect about 3 billion to come round or whatever.
Right, yes.
But let the leakages, the input, not the leakage be that power, Apapa port, security issues, supply chain problems, bad road networks. Are you following what I'm saying?
I am.
Multiple taxes.
Right.
All those create leakages so that the input you are putting does not reflect in the economy. So how many new people have Mobile have hired? How many new people have MTN have hired? How many people that Unilever have hired? And so on and so forth. But those people are supposed to hire people so that the people out in unemployment will come back
Into the labor force.
Salaries will increase. Government will earn taxes to repay the money that maybe you printed, and the economy will balance again. That's the way it works. But you see, as I said, it's a genius factors. It expects that whatever you input stays in the system and creates wealth, not filtered away or even enters into
private hands. What about the cutting down the cost of governance?
I mean, we talked about that a long time ago. I mean,
Yes.
I said that we're living big. We're broke. We're a broke country. We don't have money. When all your literal earnings are used to service debt, it's a problem. But we're still going as if everything is okay. So one of the things we do is cut. I mean, this budget of 2021, for example, of 13 trillion,
yes.
I think that it should be cut down, aggressively to reflect the times that we're facing. We're in recession. And what the people are suffering, the social discontent is very high. But I'm hoping that people understand that. So cost of governance is very high. And the government, the political side, should show the example that they're understanding what's happening and cut the cost of government. All frivolous trips should end. All these plates and pots and spoons they want to buy new ones, yes. They should shut down. Travels are not necessary. Non-essential travels should be, this thing. So how much the budget for the VP and president travels, all those kind of things should be cut down. New vehicles should be suspended, and so on and so forth. The presidential fleet should be cut. Travels that are not necessary, should be, the minister shouldn't travel with how many people, and so on and so forth, to show that the government is serious
about.
And then when you do that and tell the citizens to sacrifice by taking increased fuel prices, increase electricity prices, then now they cannot understand. Not the same thing that even the convoys for the governors are increasing.
Right.
They're not getting less. And the private jets are increasing. They're not getting less. And then you want the citizens to continue to sacrifice.
Great point. Only got 2 minutes, Chika. Just 2 quick questions for you. Setting an example. We talked about this yesterday, Dojo, but just to repeat, the government saying that they want to purchase locally assembled vehicles. Is that an example of...
That's the kind of example.
Trying to
set. Because that will enable, instead of passing the wealth to Japan, opening the LC to Japan and stuff like that, the innocents, the Vons and the Pans will, innocent, for example, about 60%, 70% of his materials are gotten from Nigeria. He has suppliers from Nigeria. And you can imagine the way that we created.
Right.
If that money is stuck in Nigeria, instead of opening letter of credit to vehicle companies in Japan. Yeah.
So again, government wants to buy locally assembled cars and instructing itself that it should purchase local.
The talk. The president said we will produce what we eat and eat what we produce. Let it permeate every aspect of government work, including even government road construction, local content, road construction, and so many other things that the government is doing. But the government is the largest spender.
Exactly. Just about a minute or so to go, Chika. Finally, oil prices, I guess because of Biden announcing, is at $47. Are you worried that with oil rising again, the government might fall back and say, well, we're now being bailed out? Because that's how we got...
I was in a seminar on Saturday, and I was telling them that, 1985, I was reading the New York Times 1985 about 2 weeks ago, and I saw that when Babangida took over power, he said within 2 years we'll be self-sufficient in food. 1985. What's he talking about it today? 1985, I think there was another something 2009, 2015. We just say, and then oil price move up again. Life continues.
Right. So, are you worried if oil? Because if oil,
it's like we went to our friend's funeral, and he died in a car accident, and as we're driving for the funeral, all of us are just driving slowly. After the burial, we leave a VGC cemetery. After reaching VGC or Chevron, you start remember, I have a meeting like this. Driver, move. Life continues. That's how Nigeria has been living our lives.
So right.
So we must save going forward and invest in the frontiers of the economy. And then all the limiting factors. For example, this oil, you did it in the morning, I think, petroleum industry bill.
Right.
Why is it dragging?
Should be passed as quickly as possible.
As quickly as possible.
Right.
Those issues that will help our economy, why are they holding them? Why are they holding them now? I mean, the government, the political, the executive side and the legislative side should sit down and know this is important to the economy. And they just pass it.
Peter Isela, former president of Pengasen, he spoke with the morning show this morning about that. Yes, correct.
But we're just dragging, and meanwhile, everybody's collecting allowances as if nothing happened. And life goes on because we're borrowing money from Brazil now here.
All right, business analyst Chika Mbono. Chika, it's always a pleasure having you.
Thank you.
And thank you for taking us through the MPC outflow and, of course, the central bank governor's comments on the recession, inflation, and, of course, the parallel market rates. We appreciate your insights, Chika.